Thank you very much for your patience. It took us a little, although I had exhaustive notes on it, it was becoming a little challenging to summarize and distill it down. But here are some of my thoughts, at least, on what we've heard this morning in relation to EDV, and maybe some food for thought on how we might pursue this moving forward. I think the first point, that there is evidence under the current UPOV guidance that it doesn't reflect necessarily the practice that is occurring among breeders in their understanding of the EDV concept. The second point that came through very clear for me is that we're seeing an evolution of breeding techniques which has created new opportunities, new incentives for predominantly deriving varieties from initial varieties. And this is happening at a more rapid pace, and I think over time we can expect at lower and lower costs. So it's becoming more and more easy to generate these new EDVs, perhaps. And finally, and I think very importantly, a clear indication from presentations and some of the discussions that we've heard and the questions that were being posed that the understanding and implementation of the EDV concept influences very much breeding strategy. The decisions that breeders are making in accordance of their understanding of the EDV concept. And this is critical because it's important that the UPOV guidance material is tuned in such a way that maximizes the benefits to society in terms of maximizing the progress in breeding. So that's just some of my thoughts that I'd like to share with you. I'd like to close this by, first of all, thanking our speakers for coming a very long way to share their knowledge with us. I think if we reflect upon the objectives of this seminar was to gain some firsthand understanding, some practical knowledge, how breeders were implementing the EDV concept, their understanding of the EDV concept, and some of the challenges that they experience associated with the EDV concept, and also to get a legal perspective, some assistance, perhaps some guidance on how we might tackle this issue going forward. Finally, I'd like to thank the participants in this room. You have been very patient. I think you exceeded our expectation in the number of participants. Very pleased to see many faces here who will also be in the CAJ this afternoon, because we have to remember the whole point of this seminar is to help us in our deliberations with the CAJ to figure out, to find a path forward, what will we do with this EDV concept. And I think we're now armed with a lot of new information that will help us in our deliberations. So once again, thank you so much for attending, for your time, your attention, your contribution, and your patience.